Hello, everyone. My name is Theodora Lau, and I'm the founder of Unconventional Ventures. Today, I'm super excited to be joined by Sarita Rao, President of Integrated and Partner Solutions at AT&T. Thank you for joining me and having a chat with me today, Sarita.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate the fact that we get to connect face to face.
Yes, I know. Finally, it's good to have a face to a name because I've been following you on social for quite a while. I love the content you share. I love your thoughts on LinkedIn. And I've always appreciated your insights. So lovely to meet you. And before we start, can you give us a brief intro on your role at AT&T?
Sure, absolutely. So as you said, I have the honor of working with the Integrated and Partner Solutions team. And this is really a sales force within AT&T Business. And our focus, though, is to build partnerships to help really fulfill AT&T's mission to be the leading connectivity provider for businesses throughout the globe. So that includes how we integrate our products and services with third parties. It also is about how we deliver and distribute our capabilities through alternate sales channels. So partnership is a huge focus for our team. And we're also working with some of the largest hyperscalers to find new ways for go-to-market strategies that benefit, at the end of the day, our customers' needs to make sure we can meet their business outcomes.
I love that. And for those of us who have followed you for quite a while, we've noticed that you've been at AT&T and telecommunications for quite some time now. That's also the industry where I came from. I spent 15 years in telecom, starting with landline, if anyone even knew what that means, all the way through CLACs and variations of wireless and high speed and whatnot. I've seen the industry evolved quite a bit, to say the least, from the 90s to now. Seems like a lifetime ago. Wanted to ask you, what are some of your most memorable moments in terms of how our industry has evolved?
Well, it's been a fantastic period of time. I can't imagine or frankly believe how many years it has been. So I started with AT&T in wholesale, and now that team is part of my organization. So I feel like I've come home. But you're absolutely right. The amazing growth throughout the course of my career and just the evolution of technology, going from your legacy phone service to advanced networking capabilities that we offer our customer today. That has been absolutely an incredible evolution to be part of. One thing, though, that's remained the same is the ability to communicate and to connect people. And so that's the core of what we do. It's the core of what we've always done. So when folks ask me, how have I been with AT&T for this many years? Honestly, I love the fact that our mission is so clear and our focus is so incredibly clear. And I've grown up in the industry. So I've gotten to watch it evolve. And if you think of what technology does today, everything from the evolution of the smartphone to where we're going with AI, the fact that we're in the center of that, and none of that happens without connectivity, is just really kind of core to the way that I was raised in the industry. So it's been absolutely wonderful being part of this company.
I love how you framed it, connectivity being the core of everything we do, how we work, how we live, especially in the last 2 years, shall we say. And it feels like everything is moving so much faster. We're doing more in less time. We're doing things anywhere, anytime. And we're constantly looking for more data, looking for more storage, bigger pipes. I wanted to ask you, and what you put together so succinctly is ability to connect and communicate with people. That's always the core of everything we do. How do we make sure we don't lose that human touch?
Well, I think the past 2 years has really been an amazing reminder for us, right? Not to lose that human touch. It's brought into sharp focus the value of human connection. If these last 2 years haven't humanized us, I'm not sure what has. Everything from leadership style, right? When did you hear about empathy and leadership until now? That's what these last 2 years. But even when we can't physically be together, which is what we've experienced, right, over these last several years, we can take the time to be engaged in each other's lives. I, for one, appreciate the ability to see inside people's homes. When we had to shut down all of our events and our very esteemed advisory councils that we do, that we listen to our customers to understand, what they need for their business and so forth. We were doing, not only these meetings, but we would do cooking classes where they could bring their families to those classes, and we'd bring a chef in, and it was fantastic. We were welcomed into their homes. How often does that happen with a client? How often does that happen with a team member? I know much more about each of my team members. It's an amazing reminder that we're all pretty much, at a basic level of being human, right? This is the one common factor we all have. It doesn't matter what level you are by any means. It doesn't matter where you fit in a corporate pyramid, but we all have lives, we have families, we have pets. We all have different complexities that we're trying to navigate through. And I think that's what the technology, and just the fact right now we're on camera together. How often were you on camera pre-pandemic? Many times you would do those conference calls with those speakerphones in the middle of the room, and now everyone's in the room with you. So I think that's really going to be important, especially as we go into this hybrid workforce. But I think what the last 2 years gave us was a shared sense of empathy. When so many were dealing with the demands of caring for loved ones, either because of illness or virtual schools, it gave us that sense of empathy. And then as we're starting to emerge from those pandemic restrictions, I believe we have a renewed appreciation for the opportunities that are in front of us, right? And what technology can do to ease our lives, because we're not going to go back to a pre-pandemic world, right? We have a new definition of normal. The water cooler and being in the office is something we can all look forward to, but you can't take for granted. It's always going to be there. And we've all learned to work around that. And I think that's pretty impressive. And technology has been in the core of all of that.
Absolutely. And it's with challenges comes opportunities. I think that's what we like to say.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So in light of that, and I love what you were just talking about, share a sense of empathy, being able to connect with each other virtually. What roles can organizations and leaders play in lifting the voice of those who are not being heard and make sure the needs of the unserved and underserved are not forgotten in the midst of the excitement of connecting with each other in the digital space?
Gosh, that's such an important question. If I think of the role that I have now, and if I think of being a woman of color, I see it as my responsibility to elevate others and to make sure the voices are heard, or to give coaching and guidance. There weren't many people that looked like me when I started with the company, or if they did look like me, they're in a much more heavy side of the technology part of AT&T. I've always been more of a general management, been in sales, been in marketing. So I didn't have many folks that look like me. So I think it's really important to pay it forward and kind of help open those doors. I found that, many young professionals, and women, from Asian cultures, many times they don't tend to speak up in meetings. I know I wasn't speaking up in meetings, and I was born and raised here in the U.S., so my cultural influences are slightly different. And sometimes it's a mix of fear of saying the wrong thing, or it's cultural, right? It can be either one, but especially in business. So how do you make sure you've created a comfortable environment where everyone has that voice? Meetings can be filled with 20 plus years of experience many times. And that can be a little intimidating. So I've always believed in the buddy system, having somebody comfortable to look at in the room just to get yourself comfortable. And then it's going to become a routine. So find those little tricks. And then to your question about, providing visibility, I think it's about providing visibility for each of the people in the room, but, not just for their cultural differences. I find that folks always ask me about diversity, and I would rather lean more on talking about giving people visibility for different ideas, right? And different perspectives. We all have different resumes. We all have different experiences. How do you bring those different perspectives to life? No matter, what your gender or your cultural or ethnic background, how do you value all the voices at the table?
I love that a lot. That's very much how I view diversity, as well as not just gender or color of your skin, but also your backgrounds, your education, where you come from, and all of that shape
Yep,
your thinking and your opinion about things.
absolutely. And I think it's making sure you're taking a moment to listen to voices, or if you see a voice in the room as leaders, we have the opportunity to ask that question, right? To encourage the conversation. And then when they respond, make sure we're listening and making sure we're giving them feedback. I think that's really important.
So before we close, I wanted to ask you
Mhm.
this. Where do you see the biggest opportunities for our industry in the next 3 to 5 years? And what gets you the most excited?
Um, wow, I think the next 3 to 5 years, if you just look at how technology's evolved in the last 3 to 5, just really excited on how we're going to build our technology ecosystems. I think the advent of 5G is absolutely going to be game changing, much more in the enterprise space, in really enabling consumers to do more. Um, I think everything, it's going to touch everything, right? From healthcare to gaming. I think there's some really exciting evolutions that we're going to see from a technology perspective. I think, if you think about AI and VR and machine learning and IoT and computer vision, right? You see this all around you. I mean, we could go on and on about everything that's going to happen with technology, but I think it's, the reason I like being where I am is all of those technologies, there's a foundational layer, and that's the underlying network. So that's what I find so exciting about what we get to see. If I just look at and talking to customers and understanding what they're building in their particular industry, it's pretty exciting. So I think there's a lot of change in building sort of an ecosystem of all of these different technologies together. I think watching movies will be extremely different. So from your day-to-day activities to bringing safety into manufacturing. So I think there's a lot of opportunities that we're going to see. I really believe we're at a point or at a part for technology. It's really about what can you imagine and how can technology fulfill that need versus technology leading. I think technology becomes an incredible enabler.
Wow. That is the perfect way to end our conversation, technology being an enabler for our dreams. Thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate the time and love your insights and look forward to continue the conversation. Thanks, Sarita.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. That was quick and it was fun. So thank you.